Admissions and financial aid at Cal Poly, California Polytechnic State University out of California. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to what they're doing in Cal Poly, but whenever I give presentations about social media too, I like to brag about the institutions that I think are really doing some cutting edge stuff. And Cal Poly is one of them, and Jim is responsible for an awful lot of what's happened there. What I like here is the contrast between Chris, who's a well-known sort of social media philosopher in some ways and full of wonderful insights, and then a practitioner actually in the higher educational world. I think that you're going to get a lot of benefit from listening to somebody who actually is in the trenches and is trying to figure out how to do it in our institutions. So, without further ado, let's have a warm hand for Jim Merriman.
After the opening with all the restaurants, I said, the heck with the presentation, let's go to lunch. So to get on, and then I look at my clock on my computer here, and it says 7:45, so the California time, hopefully it won't catch up with me. Well, I'm glad to be here today. It's been a busy, whirlwind week, incredible week for the world, actually. And myself, I had the opportunity to talk in Houston yesterday at a college board function, and hop on a couple flights to get here last night and got in about 1 o'clock, which was okay because it was still 10 o'clock my time. So for the folks that are on East Coast time, I'm trying to catch up with you. So if I'm slow or delayed or anything, I'm usually not one to delay on what I've been talking about. I'm still getting off that jet lag and on California time. But I'm glad to be here. And I hope you find what I have to share with you to be fun, to be exciting. It's real. We're doing it. We're not just talking about it. We appreciate the strategists and the strategic thinking people. We've been in this for quite some time. How many of you have ever heard of Cal Poly? That's a good number, but I'm happy to see that. It's great. There are people that are aware of the university. I remember when I arrived on campus, I hate to tell you this, but I arrived on campus in 1991. And it was still, the reference to Cal Poly was Cal Poly. Believe it or not. Yes, we had one of the largest ag programs in the country. But the predominance in engineering and architecture and agriculture is still our focus, our STEM-related focus. And 70% of our programs or more have to be STEM-related. But Cal Poly's really changed. It's really evolved with the times, and it's endured it's endured the bad budget times of the 90s. And I've endured bad budget times of the early 90s. I remember when I arrived, they said, "Oh, congratulations, you're the new guy. Don't buy, because we're going to be letting people go." It's almost like deja vu today. Well, we strategized and we repositioned the universities, and I'll get into that. But that evolved again in 2003, 4. We had the Governator. Anyone here the Governator? I have my shirt, my Barack shirt. I have my Governator shirt. Sometimes I wear that at presentations to talk about what we've endured at Cal Poly. So what you see today, what you hear, hopefully what you get is we're really doing it. We've survived, we've downsized, we've re-engineered. I'm going to talk about that. Cal Poly, for those of you that don't know Cal Poly, we're located halfway between San Francisco or San Jose, whichever route you follow, and LA. San Francisco or San Jose in the north, LA in the south. We're located on the central coast of California, about 90 miles due north of Santa Barbara and about 90 miles due south of Monterey. So destination points. We're about 10 minutes from the ocean. If you don't think the surf plays a role in what we've been able to accomplish, you'll see it in everything we're doing. Location, location, location. We changed Cal Poly from Cal Poly to a destination campus, based on a very tactical plan to move us more away from what we traditionally were to the modern STEM serving institution that we are today. We have a town of about 48,000 people, so in California, 48,000 is nothing. However, that's in the state system, we're a state university. Our students are the anomaly. 93% of our students travel more than 100 miles to attend Cal Poly. So it's as far as you think of system, state. So we're the public-private not just a regional, we're a statewide, actually a national serving institution, but in California, you have to talk about the state. California is the craziest place I've ever been. My own background. I started in admissions in 1974 as an admission intern when I was an undergrad at a small private college in Elmhurst College in Elmhurst, Illinois. And I evolved after 2 years. I got into admissions because I was an athlete. And the dean of admissions, the vice president, and the president were tired of the coaches blaming their losses on the admission office. And so what happened then was there was a relationship, a program, an intern program developed where they said, okay, we're going to send you up and we're going to send you up to, learn about what's current in admissions. And all of a sudden I went from a 6-week intern position to a full-time 2-year position while attending the institution. So I parlayed that after trying to go into a different life in sport, parlayed that into a career in admissions that when I start my vita now, it's 34 years in this game. So I also worked at a private college, spent 4 years in a community college, worked at a state university that was primarily a African American serving institution. 90% of the students were African American in the inner city of Chicago. And then I spent 8 years as a chief division officer up in Washington State, the regional institution, before moving to Cal Poly, like I said, in '91. So just a little bit of background on myself. So like my staff says, in Cal Poly, it's not my first rodeo. However, we've been able to do things there because of some tremendous people. The university itself, this fall we enrolled 17, we enrolled 17,616. And that's 116 students more than we wanted. And in California, that could be a penalty. So we're about slightly over enrolled. We had 1,000 graduate students and we came in right on those numbers. Now that's important to us. You think it's 6,000 acre campus. Why are you so worried about your size? Well, it's all based on funding and capacity. And we're exceeding our capacity, so if we don't do things creatively, we're in trouble. And you need this theory to see how we get to do things. We have 7 colleges, 6 serving undergrads. That's agriculture, food, and environmental science. College we call it CAFE. We have an architectural and environmental design, a college of business and economics, college of education, which is strictly for graduate students, college of engineering, the college of liberal arts, and the college of science and math. And I mentioned 70% or more of our disciplines have to be STEM. That is our strategic vision for the institution. And we focus on that vision and maintaining that. So you understand, we can get into academic rigor and what's required to focus on that STEM relationship, but it's not an easy task. Even though there's all these outstanding students out there, keeping that STEM pipeline going and changing from Cal to Cal Poly was a big to-do. So we had to get a lot of buy-in. And then the theory of this and the re-engineering and how we engaged our institution, hopefully you'll pick up some of that. Our unit, which is really important, the history of 1991. In 1991, Cal Poly was getting plenty of apps, about 10,000 apps for about 3,500 openings, so they had plenty of apps. They had 3 separate units, quote, serving, and they weren't serving apps, they were doing their thing. We had a university outreach unit. It was school relations. They went and they did typical school relations, did some fairs, but mostly visiting schools. I like to call it the lounge lizard approach, where they're, at the community college every Friday, hugging the same lounge lizards. They had absolutely no statistical analysis or return on any of their actions. And so day one, we started asking a lot of questions. Why? Let me get into it a little bit. They reported on one side of the house in our student affairs division. They had no interrelationship with the second part of my unit today, is the admission unit. And that was just a processing unit. And that unit used to collect those 10,000 apps and process them. They never communicated with them, they processed their apps. And it was very, again, lack of personalization, lack of return on any of their action. So we couldn't tell you what was driving anything. It referred to academic affairs, and the academic folks were always complaining, who's that person sitting in my class, how did they get there? That's what I heard. Besides, don't buy because of the budget, don't buy a house, you're lucky, they're all going to auctions to, hey, how the heck did that person get in the classroom? And we had a third unit, the third part of it, our financial aid office reported into business affairs. So now we have student affairs, business affairs, and academic affairs, and they did financial aid. We never heard of leveraging. They provided aid. None of the strategies were strategic to support an overall enrollment management goal. In fact, there wasn't an overall management goal. So happy processing 10,000 apps with no personalization, with no return on investment. Basically, they do Xerox letters telling them that their app was either accepted or denied, and here, go out to the year and you'll be hearing from the department later. So no intervening relationships. Well, the budget hit, and the crisis occurred, and then the golden goose died in California, and the popular, they lost about 33%. You can see this in the end of the presentation, and some of the data that we threw out there in our dashboard. About 32% of the population was lost at the time the budget took its first tank in California. So here they were, down to 7,000 apps, and oh my God, what's going on? And that's, I was there a year, and the then provost at the time said, it's exactly what I predicted. I've been here 3 years. I've been telling the administration, you need to make some significant changes. And he looked at me because I was one of his first hires and said, you're going to do it. So all those groups came under me and said, oh, by the way, I'm going to cut your budget by 28%. So lovely, right? So I started with that. First step is to move forward. So strategically, we didn't get staff to do it. In fact, we had to do it with less budget. We had to regroup. At that time, it was about $240,000 to do those cuts and pull that into my budget with those 3 units combined. Well, we took it a little quickly and said we can't keep doing business as usual. We have to be much more strategic in what we're doing. So let's take a look at our hierarchy here. What are we about? We have a chancellor who's above 23 campuses, and then internally we have a president and our senior executives and our other administrators, and then we have our staff and our faculty and our students. And who are we serving? Well, if we don't stop serving number 1 there on the list, we better invert this pyramid and start serving 2 and making and engaging our faculty. Because at Cal Poly, we're so different. You start in major day 1. So we don't want that faculty complaining about who's sitting in their classroom, because it's their classroom. We're bringing in students day 1 into their majors. So our entire process focused on 1 and 2 in the inverted pyramid. Flip-flopping, put the students as the number 1 most important thing going on in the campus, kind faculty to them, empowering staff, and the heck with 4, 5, and 6 in the inverted pyramid. We figured if we pulled 1, 2, and 3 out, the hell with 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it's a strategy the provost told these in the strategic planning meeting. We're moving towards an enrollment management concept, and here's what's going on. And oh, by the way, I still believe that, I believe in this inverted pyramid. And you're going to be measured on goals and objectives with progress indicators, and this group's going to help support it. Wow, that was a power broker. So then that provost left in 5 years and became a president somewhere else. But we're still at it today. In fact, he's back and helping the campus after he retired. But the inverted pyramid allowed us to do a lot of things. It allowed us, and I'm going to skip one here and go right to the bottom. It allowed us to plan. It allowed us to focus on a mission. And this is really important. A mission that made the student-centered approach to what we're doing the most important thing we got going. So what did we do first? We started looking out focus groups of students. The heck with the administration, but focus group of students, focus groups of parents, focus groups of counselors to say, how do we best deliver services? And lo and behold, the first thing was answer your phones when someone calls. Reply to the letters when they send you letters. And oh, by the way, communicate your message to your audiences. Instead of saying they're going to come to you, you know, here's the field of dreams. You build the university, they will come. So we long committed to a mission where we're going to link students to our campus. And our vision then is committed to recruiting, admitting, enrolling, graduating, placing successful citizens that represent the diverse state of California. So we're looking for the high-quality, diverse students as progress indicators of everything we're doing. And it's really important to know. Our steps then required us to take action. We employed a market-driven approach to everything we're doing. So predictive modeling was built into what we're doing. For the first time ever, Cal Poly bought names of prospective students. They continued to do focus groups. We developed our first, what we call our contact management system to communicate with students. We actually started tracking return. We knew then what prospect we started. Okay, well, how do we touch students? Lo and behold, there was about 300 touch points across the campus. Scattered, no one tying anything together, but there was 300 activities from camps to leadership to robotics, all these different touch points that no one was tracking the return. So we put it all into a database, a prospect management system, and said, well, we said points of contact to enroll. Heck with that, we're going to move all the way to who's graduating. When we started looking at technology advances, I mentioned in 91 they were all paper. So by 93 we had launched the first disk application. Anyone remember when Cal Poly had its little disk, DOS disk, and then we moved to another disk, and eventually we moved to an online admission portfolio in the late 90s. Today we receive 40,000 apps all filed electronically. They're not just apps, they're admission portfolios. We have 65 different majors. We run 65 different admission processes because students come in by major. We run comprehensive reviews and all that faculty determine the criteria, both the cognitive and non-cognitive variables used in that selection. All of it's automated through the use of technology. All of it is submitted at a push of a button by a student. The portfolio itself takes no longer than a half hour for a student to file. So what do? We're looking at removing roadblocks instead of creating them. We look at our competitors. Anyone from the UC in here? If you were, I would tell you, keep doing business the way you're doing, because you draw on more roadblocks than anyone can find, and we try to remove them for our business processes. You don't have to take SA1, SA2, test prep this, test prep that Cal Poly. We just require you to fill out an admission portfolio, ask key questions, and behind it, our predictive modeling and what we're using it as attributes in the admission runs our reviews. And it's a very complex scoring system for each of the majors, but the faculty are engaged and they're involved. They also jumped into communication. Why? Because they're responsible for who's sitting in the classroom. And their deans are responsible. So as an assistant VP in academic affairs, I work with the deans hand in hand. And if they want to improve this major, if they want to get rid of this major, if they want to enhance what they're doing here, they have to work intrusively with us. And how we got there was strategic, as I talked about initially, but it's really important for you to understand is it continues to evolve as we go through the processes because of the assessment in our returns of our efforts. So there's progress indicators there that have to be looked at, supported, and assessed every year. And it's not incumbent for us to publish. We have to publish our yearly goals and objectives, our strategic plan, the progress indicators that we're looking for, the actions we're taking, and then every year we have a year-end report. In fact, if any of you want them, you just leave me your business card and I'll send you that. So it's a simple Word document. Here's the goal, the objective. There's an environmental scan, but here's the goals, here's the objectives, here's the actions, here's the results. Strategically, you can modify it. You know, your critics will come, why did you do this? Well, look at the results. Aggies, let's go back to Cal Poly. They had ag ambassadors, and they ran around with rodeo, and we won't get away from the rodeo, because I actually like the Cowboys. But they ran around and thought their ag ambassaders were driving their applicant pool. And lo and behold, when we tracked the sources, when we contact the ags made to applicants to enroll students, 28. You know, they were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on this effort. But we said, okay, if you do this, look at the return you get from this investment. And so that everyone bought in. And I mentioned that because that's part of process innovation. which is never easy. It's never easy because you have to do your internal buy-in first. So you have to lay out your plan, you have to identify your goals, you have to get your unit to buy into your goals. In our case, we have 5 different collective bargaining unions. We have a management staff contract. We have a number of different things that we have to work with, getting people to do different things. We have to explain how this better serves our constituency. First of all, agree that students are consistency, not the massage that you need to go to at 4 o'clock because that's what you've been doing for 20 years. You have to take the strengths of what you're trying to accomplish and then look at your critical success factors. And we've been able to accomplish that over the years. And like I said, I'd be happy to share the results. Our performance strategy then shifted quickly to self-service by 1999 with the explosion of the web. And we said we would do everything electronically. Our business rule then was 90%, served 90% of our constituency electronically. Today we're about 98 to 97.3 maybe. So 97% of what we do is totally electronic. We call it the Green Admission Effort. If anyone of you have seen any of our, we have a paper on it. The Green Admission Effort and what it's led to. Why? Well, because our constituency drove us to it. But our campus also supported that in their sustainability. Sustainability and inclusive excellence is our 2 keys in our strategic initiative. What else do we use? Is contact management or customer relations management system, a portal, knowledge-based virtual advisor. Well, you'll see all the technologies, but our initial performance strategy started with this campaign, and it's evolved. So some of the other things we're doing are pretty incredible. It required collaboration, communication across all boards, recruitment, application processing, financial aid, IT. Hell, we brought up a major, we spent millions of dollars on a major ERP. I won't even say the name because what do we get from it? We survived it, that's about it. So we did all kinds of great things in some pretty touching situations. Now to the application of what we're doing. Cal Poly uses a number of different new media. Let's just get into it and show you. I'm doing okay on time here. Okay, so in recruitment, we do the entire campus's recruitment effort. And so it is an integrated approach from the president on down, the deans, the department chairs. All of them are involved in this process. Now, okay, go flip back to the theory. It's an upside-down curriculum starting in major day 1. The admission offices, the academic affairs central, is not responsible for who's sitting in the classroom. The deans and their department chairs are. Okay? The first thing we did is gave them the authority to develop the criteria. We made sure it was legal, and it changed. We had changes in state law in California that made us stop doing one thing or looking at one variable and we had to adopt others. But they're engaged. Our freshman process, all of our prospects, I can go to the database, and I will if it's up, and we'll show you how many prospects in there. We're probably touching about 390, 400,000 prospects right now in our CRM. And how many of those are active? Well, we have different campaigns going on, and obviously we only take apps in October and November. It's not obvious to you, it's obvious to me. But there's a campaign going right now to move these people from the 12th grade to applicants. So that's a recruitment campaign. All of them have their own VIP page. The VIP page is authenticated. They sign on, they get a username, password. They're able to sign on, and within the campaigns then, they're able to pick majors. And it's dynamic. You can update that, change that 24/7, 365. WAML. In there, we use some streaming video messages, and I'll go in and show you. Streaming video messages, from the department chairs, from their students. We combine a number of other media, including a virtual view book, in the virtual view book. That's a screenshot of that. We'll see if we can get in that. We can show you that right now. And as I'm firing this up, I am lying there. You can see some of the things I'm talking about. And I will We also use knowledge base, so virtual advisors.
What if you visit by dragging the icon to the frame, the right arrows are your exit.
So obviously when we're designing our virtual view book, you see the arrow keys and everything, you'll see the character recognition for ADA compliance.
Location, Cal Poly.
Mini browser. And the way it is expired, the knowledge base itself, I mentioned, right now we're offering knowledge base in 2 languages, English and Spanish. This year we'll release 4 additional languages for knowledge base. For those that use terminology, knowledge base is based on real-time answers to questions that a student can pose. So they can go into the virtual advisor here, it goes, how do I apply? Boom, the answer would be, if it's English, would be, you go out to CSU Mentor, click on our website for our application, goes out to a bigger picture, CSU Mentor, and it links them right in there where they can apply. So you can move in that direction. I will get a virtual advisor. We're also using a number of different email drivers. Now, a lot of people say, students don't read emails anymore, and they're right, they don't. Not a whole lot, but if you're recruiting them, they will. They continue, how do we know that? Well, we have a return on every one. So every message, everything we're doing, we can look at our data behind it and look at our return on investment for that action. So every one of our email messages is measured. I'll just show you, here's an example of the VIP driver.
Ready to explore from the top undergraduate institutions in the Western United States? Cal Poly built a customized webpage for you called a VIP page. This gives you access to all things Cal Poly. Short movies about different topics, links to everything you need to know about majors, selection criteria, faculty interviews, links to the department, links to our digital view book to take a virtual campus tour. Check out different areas of interest such as housing, financial aid, disabled student resources, and more. Register for a campus visit and let us know when to expect you on campus for a tour. All of this is available through your VIP page. Use your username and password sent in your email. Begin exploring today.
So that's a sample. Say you purchase student search and you use the student search, you can use a student search like that. We'll use that, create the VIP form, send them out to search. They'll hit in the email, tell them about the username, password. It's authenticated, they can get it. The information is available to them in the VIP portal 24/7, 365. We're qualifying prospects on a predictive model, so we know a lot about them. Obviously, I talk about STEM. A lot of it's STEM driven. So we know we think this one may want civil and art engineering and civil engineering. So we'll create that additionally in the VIP page form, and then they can go out and change it. But as we're cultivating that prospect pool, and as we're moving really with our prospecting effort, our recruitment effort, the campaigns really start, although we're touching 9th graders, it really starts at about 18 months before October 1st. And why do I say October 1st? Because that's when our filing period for the next fall begins. Our filing period in California begins October 1 and closes November 30th. That's it. Can't apply any other time. So we'll receive our, yes?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask you, this is so sophisticated, what kind of TMS system?
Our CRM is Options, which we helped design. It was designed at Cal Poly initially. I have to say this because my chancellor made me, part of our MOU with Options is that, and I'm not representing Options. Obviously, we helped design the system, and it's free at Cal Poly. So that was part of our MOU with them, and it's free for life of the product, so I think we're on our 3rd or 4th version of it. But that's the CRM. We're running on our ERP is PeopleSoft or Oracle. We do not use any of the Oracle recruitment. We strictly use Oracle as the application hog. process data. So everything's done outside of that. We also have a sophisticated selection tool set in Oracle, but it's not PeopleSoft. So our comprehensive review is also external. So our CRM, our comprehensive review, is external to our ERP, if that makes any sense. And so is our data warehouse, and so is our youth portal. So we combine a number of technologies there. Show you some of the other messages. I mentioned we're qualifying prospects, and there's attributes that we use to qualify prospects. So we could go into our CRM and we could qualify prospects based on the filtering campaign. And say we're qualifying down to the major because we have
using the packaging software. You use the computer and it will cut out a box design for you. You want cuts in the flap. So there's no problem with cutting for it, and you have a box ready to go like this. My major is industrial technology. I think it's kind of like the hybrid between business and engineering. We're kind of like the one of engineering background and technology background, but we're not sitting there writing all the formulas up. We're more doing the application. Though I think most of our classes are case studies on companies, how they set up their facilities, how they make production, how they set up their quality system. I can talk to engineers, using their language. I can talk to the businessmen using their language. I can talk to the customers using their language. Understand everybody understand each other. Really, top 3 language civilization, and definitely have all the equipment and the resources we need to keep that going. All these two competitions, we see at least 70% of all win. When I was coming in Cal Poly, they had called it the crown jewel of the industrial technology program. And the machine there, machine, injection motor. So it's all, bringing modern equipment. Kids are learning what the industry is doing right now, not learning what the industry did 30 years ago. Our faculty just gets out there and really tries to get students involved. They like us, but they've done it before, so they're just guiding us in the right direction. I would strongly recommend if you want to get an engineering background, don't necessarily want to be in an engineering position, and really get out there and work with people. Industrial technology is the way to go.
Now, when you talk about re-engineering, you're talking about budget cuts, and we lost 28% starting out as we got into it. By 2004, we lost another 20% of our overall budget for real dollars. How do you do this? All this is focus group driven. I have 2 people in communications. They used to be admission counselors. So as the admission counselors went away, we used to have 12, 14 admission counselors. I now have 2, or 3, I'm sorry. I took 2 positions, 2 FTE in the re-engineering, and I put them into communications. So there's an associate director responsible for all those communications and an assistant. And they were getting no additional FTE, but I gave them 6 FTE of student help. So that's 12 students. So the focus groups that I make, we start with 10th graders and 11th graders, actually is a recruitment tool set to a job that they are actually applying to come to campus. So those 10th graders that we're putting in focus groups, also many of them end up working for us as students with a 3.5-year commitment. And so that focus groups, many of them today, we've been at it with this effort since '99, when we launched the CRM and our partnership with Hobson's. We've been at it on the focus groups. Some of them own their own businesses. And so when you see some of the things going on at Hauser or Surf City or some of the different businesses, that they were initially in the focus group of students that came out of Cal Poly. So it's not just the CRM effort at Cal Poly, it's a CRM effort in industry. Selling surfboards in many cases, or shirts, and so we're pretty proud about that opportunity, what it did for our students. The messages then continue. They're all students. We have over 1,000 messages right now from the academic departments to support departments like housing, financial aid, admissions, orientation, advising, because we're going to show you all the way through the cycle. But every department has messages.
I chose Cal Poly. I was flying down to San Diego with my dad and driving back up the whole coast and stopping at every single school I applied to and gotten into.
I mean, the first one I came here is
Cal Poly had a really well-known computer science program, and it was in a beautiful area. And compared to the other places I was thinking about going to, there was no competition.
I said, yeah, I really like that place. I think that's where I want to go.
Computer engineering, which is what I ended up doing, is like software, computer science, but you give the answer. That's the ticket for me.
there's so many applications for it. doing, you're going into so many different.
Now, why all the jumping? That focus, whatever, 7 seconds to get our attention.
does train software engineers.
So this is the type of messages they want. Messages I can't stand. But messages they want, they're actually moving quicker than I am. You can see it, these are actual messages.
The classes I did there were really good blend of the theoretical and the practical.
I was very prepared. It was a real whole experience that I think really prepared me for me was being in the computer science department here at Cal Poly. I had extensive training.
I'm just really thankful for all these awesome opportunities that Microsoft's given me, and I think that I was prepared for through Cal Poly.
Cal Poly is a great place to be, and everybody who may be watching this video know that going here is a real step up, real advantage over university.
Now, one of those students actually was in the focus group. Bubba, the first guy at Microsoft, was one of our early. He went on to become student body president and then moved into a great position at Microsoft. And then he went out and worked for VC, and then he went back to Microsoft. So he's back at Microsoft doing something. You get an idea. Every one of the messages, all 1,000, anytime we send one to a different point, we have different campaigns. So yes, we have 10th grade campaigns, 11th grade campaigns, we have 12th grade campaigns. You're seeing part of the 12th grade campaign. The messages that are all measured for return. So we know who gets the message, who opens it, if they forward it, who they forward it to, what they're looking at in the message. If I have time, I'm trying to condense about 4 hours into one. If I have time, I'll go into the database and show you the CRM. I manage it. I was in Houston yesterday managing a campaign. In fact, our homecoming is coming up, and we want to make sure that we're handling a sold-out crowd, and we're doing some different things there with wine tasting and all that. And I was managing that campaign yesterday because we take it from cradle to grave. Homecoming, I'm talking alumni, what we're doing with the alumni group. Again, the messages.
I can't, from the other side.
Are filed on a calendar.
And here,
Our calendars are adopted a year in advance. I hope I have time to show you a flow of the calendar with timelines and the completion of the various initiatives, so you can see how it's all put together.
my own experiences, my own point of view. My path and degree comes from Cal Poly. Ready to start yours?
Natalie was a political science major at Cal Poly. She was in the focus group. So it's not just engineers in the focus groups, it's the students that cross all the disciplines. Again, 7 seconds. It'll drive you crazy, I'm sure. Unless you're under 30. It'll drive you crazy. Our typical audience, our typical freshman class, 17.8 years of age. Our overall average is 20.8. So it's a very traditional type of student body. It's not one of the drive-by kind of campus. It's very traditional, 93% come from more than 100 miles away. Live in San Luis. And we I'll show you one more after this, and then obviously you click through and you can go right into the admission portfolio, register, and go from there, submit your application. We say you have to know what you want because you start day one, so if you
obviously depends on how all the soil is and the types of sediment and how well it's going to work in the water.
Could you imagine having the root be recruited by major guy? You have to recruit students to study dirt. And that major is actively involved, helped launch what we're doing here in '99. And today they have one of the highest applicant pools for the greatest yields. Their program, soil science, the wine and viticulture program at Cal Poly, I can't even tell you, well, I can't tell you how much because I know how much Mr. Mondavi put into Cal Poly. I know how much the Gallos put into Mondavi from the foundation standpoint. That message there was used, in fact, in helping reach what a donor, and I mentioned two of them, and there's more out there. San Luis Obispo has 150 acres that Mondavi planted about 7 years ago. This year we're marketing and selling our own wines, so we have our own Cal Poly Pinot Noir, our own Cal Poly Chardonnay. We have a Cal Poly blend. It'll be a cab blend that should knock the socks off there when it goes in sale in homecoming. I mentioned all this from the e-commerce standpoint because yes, we're involved and engaged in doing some of that with our alumni association. So hopefully we'll get to that and I won't go too far. I promise I don't want to interfere with much and I can talk about this for hours. But the process continues. You obviously move a 10th grader and consider you 11th grader to really get excited about and visit. And we manage all of our visits through our CRM as well because there's an event scheduler with the RSVP. So we work with our colleges and our deans and our department chairs on our events on campus to bring in to host to manage what goes on there. Then you finally take 11th grade and you get them to apply. And at Cal Poly, we've had 14 or 15 straight records since '92. We had that slump. We've had 15 straight record applicant pool. Last year we had 37,300 or 37,400 apps apply and compete for admission for the 3,500 new student spots. So it was pretty significant. And we were, it's incredible. The CSU, once student moves, we keep the green admission process going. We use CSU Mentor. Now that's a system. We're part of the CSU, so we have to use the CSU Mentor application. For us, it's the admission portfolio. So there's all kinds of supplemental stuff that you can't see here. I mentioned selection. I mentioned how the criteria and all that's been given to the faculty to develop. We manage the processes down to the individual student. And so they're engaged, they're involved, they want their message to go. Tom Rice, the department chair in soil, knows his message is out. Send me my return so I take a snapshot and show them the ROI. Here's how many prospects qualified, here's how many were sent, here's how many received it, boom, here's how many opened it, here's how many stood out for the 37 seconds, or 30, 45, 60 seconds of the message and send back information. Here's how we can further qualify those prospects for the filing period. But now they're an applicant and they apply. We continue to use technology to serve them. Now we're saying no to a lot of people, right? At the point of application, the VIP page turns into a U portal. The U portal has a number of different elements in it for an applicant. When they went from the VIP and our CRM, the Connect product into the U portal. And the U portal has another authentication and everything which is seamless to the students. So they continue to receive information on their application status. And we continue to send them e-messages. Now you'll see this one's a little bit more formal. In fact, there's actually text in that. Remember, we're green. We're not sending any paper. Okay? So those 40,000 or 38,000 apps are getting email messages from us. They're getting text messages. They're getting broadcast phone messages. They're getting invited to chat. There's a blog out there. You'll see it. I shouldn't talk about it. Let's just go through it. Once they're admitted, then the engagement heats up. Why? You have 38,000 apps and you got 3,500 audience. Why does it heat up? Because we're competing for these students. Remember the goal to represent California? But we have to compete for those students. In fact, we've moved from our competition analysis, we moved from 6th choice to 3rd choice in many of the programs. We're first choice per number about 70%, but we're still compete and lose students. We lose 50, we compete, we shoot out about a 50-50 from the clearinghouse report with Berkeley and UCLA. Out of the 4 or 5 competitors in the UC, we have a 75-80% win-loss rate. So we're winning 8 out of 10 students with them. So you get an idea of that. We expand the U-Portal for admitted students.
Congratulations. No one can tell you that Michigan Cal Poly was competitive and that you were selected to join one of the top universities on the West Coast. As an applicant, you probably accepted my Cal Poly already, and you may have noticed the portal changed once you offered conditional admission. There are different tabs that we included links to important information as you make your way to the first day of classes. First, make sure you go through all the info and watch for deadlines. If you're admitted to a fall quarter, you must accept the offer through the accept decline link. Remember, that's for fall quarter only. Second, keep the personal info tab updated with current information, including your email address, so you receive important notices. It's that easy. Because the hardest thing we want you deciding is when to arrive on campus. Again, congratulations.
We also have a newly admitted parent VIP portal. So newly admitted parents can they can monitor Johnny and Julie. And for those, we'll actually send general messages of welcome to them, and they get information on all the things that their son and daughter aren't reading, because they don't read all the emails, but they do actually in this process. It's amazing. We continue to use the number of streamers.
Congratulations. Congratulations. You've been offering.
Michigan Cal Poly web portal. Where do you go from here?
My Cal Poly.
My Cal Poly, the web portal. It's your one-stop shop for everything. That's where
You start. On My Cal Poly, verify your personal information, including your email address.
email is the main form of communication. On My Cal Poly, you can accept decline.
To indicate if you accept our offer by May 1st.
May 1st, again.
Again.
Congratulations. Welcome.
So I probably should have shown you that before the U-Portal, because it tells them to go out there, and then you see Pedro out there. Pedro is also in focus group. He's also a tour guide, working on the communications agency and all that. This message continues. It's intrusive. And I'll show you a flow.
Well, I'm Warren Bacon. I'd like to congratulate you on being admitted to Cal Poly. I'm confident that you will bring unique talents, fresh perspectives, and an enthusiasm for learning. I believe you're going to contribute greatly to our campus community. In turn, we promise you dedicated professors who care deeply about their students, an exciting academic challenge, and the prestige of graduating from one of the most acclaimed public institutions in the Western United States. Congratulations and best wishes for an enjoyable and successful career at Cal Poly.
We continue this throughout the cycle. 7 seconds, little game. You'll lose. Amazing for so many students in the process that tell you on 7 seconds. Most, when we're talking most, over 90% on our metric, our ROI in the database, will watch the entire email. It's amazing. And then they become students and they don't look at anything, right? True. By the way, I was going to show you that. I don't know if we'll have time to play on the virtual tours, campus tours and all that, the virtual view book and all that. But you can, if we have time or if you want to play, it's out at our website. You just click on it. And again, this presentation will be online, so you'll have the flash version online. You can go and click through just like I'm doing if you want to show people. I'll give you a URL to that. But this continues throughout.
Hi, I'm glad to hear that you're coming to Cal Poly. I know a lot of you during the open house, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you with some of the guys. They call it SOAR here at Cal Poly. I hope it's SOAR, you know, to a college degree. Some advising is really important. There's evidence to show that the way someone performs in the first 6 weeks in college has a lot to do with their overall success. Some advising is really off to a good start. We're running the faculty back here at Cal Poly with the advisors and the fellow students who are freshmen coming into the first time this year. We're helping prepare a schedule for the first quarter, this fall quarter at Cal Poly. We'll help you prepare a tentative schedule for the whole year. You'll learn how to register for classes, and we'll give a lot of information on policies at Cal Poly and particularly tips on how to be successful, how to study to learn. You're going to see the history of science around Cal Poly, study 25 to 35 hours a week. I would be able to think about that. It may sound like a lot right now, but when we really get here, the time that we expect to study and the time that we're in class will be a very manageable 40 to 50 hours a week. We want you to be successful at Cal Poly. We want you to be a Cal Poly graduate. And summer advising SOAR, that's the start. So I hope to see you here. We're really looking forward to greeting you.
Cal Poly doesn't just put people in the classroom and teach them and lecture them, that type of thing. They give them a chance to actively do what it is they're learning in the classroom.
Our tagline is the same marketing.
We have our upside down here really equate with the laboratory experience, but our marketing students get chances to work with car companies and run their marketing campaigns in San Luis Obispo for a new car coming out. The BFSA Faculty and Staff Association is really a networking group. One of the most important things that we really try and do is defend ourselves to the students and be kind of that family figure, that family away from home. We really try and give students a chance to feel comfortable. The BFSA is important because it's a support network. It's important because it gives students the knowledge that they have somebody to fall back on, and it really just helps establish a sense of community on our campus. Faculty members, there's staff members, and there's community members, there's Black alumni that get involved. It's really a community thing. The culminating experience is the Black commencement ceremony. It takes place on Friday before the university commencement, and it's really just a time when we celebrate our Black graduates. The faculty and staff are there once again.
I want to actually show you a flow. I mentioned all the flows. This is actually a converting flow, which means we selected a student. Now we want to involve the entire campus back to the goal, back to our progress indicator. Here's all the messages. You see the dates on the left. The message itself, I can click on any of these. I can give you these links. This links the student. We're a newly admitted student. I mentioned our cycle. We will do our early decision December 15th. January 15th, they have to confirm. We'll do our regular decision. Make all of our regular decisions by mid-February. They have until May 1. We have our orientation, our open house in April, where all our newly admitted students are engaged. You can see here in the flow all the different types of message. Did I jump over to the departments? Every department has a message, all the different support groups. What you see here, 418, and I'll give you this clip so you can look on it and you can look at any of the messages. Are the individual messages of welcome from every department out there? Some of them are boring. Some of them are good. I'm just picking on one. I don't know what we're going to get here. This is chemistry. Will be Tina Bailey, I believe. Let's see what she looks like here. That's Phil's wife and me. So everyone has a message, every department. Now this message is obviously tailored to a newly admitted student. It fires up, it's fired up. A little slow. But every one of them has it, every one of them. Now, what the department chairs and the deans like are the ROI. They love when I go into the database, and they love when I'm able to click and send them a snapshot of who got what in the database, who was sent what, how it worked, and what the return on is on their individual message. So the president says, Jim, what's my return? What did I get? And I'll say, okay, Warren, on your welcome letter, you got your welcome message, 90% of the students opened it. Here, by the way, you can see, we sent out 64 messages in the last week, the different components of the campus. Now, as I progress through this, and I promise I'll get you out of here in time for lunch, but you'll see we're not only doing prospects, applicants, newly admitted students, but enrolled students. Okay, that's part of the retention effort. We have a component there. We also have a component for alumni. We have a component for parents and some secondary services like counselors, so you see different campaigns. And then you can just see some of the, here's, I can click on any of these. Let's see if I can get it to the president. Let's just see the last 6 months. It's probably close to 1,000 different messages that we've generated for the campus. That's it. You see in the database. You saw that whole flow there. You see that's in the database. There's what we call our fire and forget technology. We set it up a plan a year in advance, and then we add or subtract to it based on current activity. And you can see how that's all working. So there's changes for financial aid. You see just the site, you can get an idea of all the things that are going on. 6 months. And if I get in time, if you want to, I'll be here. We can fire this up and look at it later.
Congratulations on being admitted to the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. You can see here that we have equipment, we have laboratories, and we're really looking forward to having you in class and also having you get to know our faculty, their research, and the opportunities that you will have with a degree from Cal Poly. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.
So again, that was part of the flow. You saw Tina's from the department. Every one of the department chairs has that going for them. Okay, so I'll read this back up and read over. And I know I'm bad on time here. I mentioned the invitations with the RSVP. All the students have sent that. The return on that also comes through. We also use EMT Reach, which is a broadcast phone capability. So we will actually send broadcast phone messages to students. Now, these are very targeted messages. Usually it's used, okay, at the end of a cycle, say April 29th, and they haven't yet responded. So there's a group of students that maybe we really want. We've used the portal, we've used a series of all those different e-messages. Now it's time for a broadcast phone message. Hey, you got 24 hours, or else we're going to remove your application and you'll no longer be considered for Cal Poly. Or you got to pay your fees, or you're about to be dropped out of your registration, or hey, welcome to the honors program. We love you. We have a program. We partnered with 192 different high schools with historically low number of college-going students. I have to be careful of words I use because in California you can't do anything based on race, gender, or ethnicity, anything in admissions, but you surely can communicate and you surely can develop relations with students. So they haven't taken that tool set away from us. The ability to communicate with people. That's what's so great about technology, because the tool sets are so widely applied. I used to work about a digital divide until my middle daughter, who taught 5th grade in Harlem for 2 years as part of her Teach for America, told me, Dad, I communicate with all my students by their phone, and their text messages, and their IM. And they have access? Heck yeah, they have access. So we're jumping that hurdle there as well. Reach then has the same type of delivery. Every message you send, it's a broadcast phone, whatever you're using, broadcast phone, text, you can measure the message. You can see who got it. If it was a busy signal, if it went into a text or into a voicemail, if they received it and listened to it, you can get that on any individual student. So you can drill down to the individual student. And if I quit talking and move through this presentation, you'll see this. You can also use the tool set, and I use it extensively for internal surveys. Okay? That I want to control on different audiences. Student satisfaction of how we communicate. You want to survey them. Student satisfaction of events that you're hosting, open house. Student satisfaction about, the entire process. You want to do that. And you still continue to play with, the College Board and ACT, whoever provides you your external services or clearinghouse. And we do all of that. We also have messages for currently enrolled students. I mean, it's not uncommon for us.
Psychology to life.
Often I think that if you're a really quiet and shy person, you shouldn't do it because you get put on the spot a lot. But we have people who come in and are really quiet and totally change.
So if you're somebody who's not sure, the only way to find out is by doing it. So it's you never get the real immediate responsibilities and job satisfaction that you get from the military, actually.
They also fill out editing. They do the entire development.
Cal Poly tends to be a very tough school. And what I see is our cadets are probably some of the smartest, brightest kids I've seen. And that's after spending 2 years at West Point. The kids that are in this program are some of the best kids I've ever dealt with. And that's what I'm going to do. There are guys that come to this that never thought they could come to it.
Give you an idea then to support it.
For about 6 weeks. I decided to sign up on my own. When I went to the first meeting, I recognized about 1 or 2 other people, so I really didn't know anyone going to the program, but I took no time at all, community to be.
I know I'm past time, so I'm going to try to fly through this, and I won't get all the information I want, but I will make it available. The e-messages I mentioned continues for parents. We have prospective student parents, and then we have newly admitted student parents. 2 different audiences, 2 different ways of messages. The strategies are all outlined for them. They receive information like their students.
I probably got the best taste of Cal Poly by going to the open house day, the presentations that they did, and so on, were just fascinating.
When our daughter went to
80% of our students or more, the parent was the number one. We get surveys are 80%. So if you think it's someone else influencing, peers,
It was
parent is right there.
to go to the parent thing on finances was very helpful.
Okay, so you can see the parent has their own VIP, again, authenticated, they can sign on. We also continue to do registration. I will give you a link to all the different programs that continues there. Email forwarding. Chats, we also use chats. Again, invite, you monitor your chat. We use email plate streamers to invite certain segments. Obviously, historically underrepresented. We can invite them to chat. We can continue to communicate. We do. Our black faculty, as an example, is very engaged in the chats with the prospective black students, African American students, so we're moving that. Same thing with our Midget Club, very engaged with our Latino recruitment effort. We use blogs. So chats are real, chat invites out there. We use student blogs. Again, a lot of the student focus group, a lot of our volunteers are part of the blog. I mentioned already the knowledge base, the virtual advisor for all of our activities is out there. That's also there. We have a GPS ranger that I won't get into today, but it's a GPS guided tour. So say our tour guides aren't there, we have structured tours. We can take a GPS ranger tour. And I also can give you a link to that. Now, what's nice about the GPS ranger, that's all they have to do is give us a little general information, which we call a filter. Boom, we populate the VIP page. So when they get home after the tour, here's your username, password. We're glad you were on the tour. Oh, by the way, Uncle Big Brother's watching. We know you went to these places on the tour and you didn't go here by the GPS. We don't tell them that. The GPS ranger gives you that capability to do that. I'm sorry I'm not rushing here. So all that is available. The future is here. It is available. And yes, it is a measure. This doesn't do a real good job of what it looks like, but the email results, everything we're doing, the broadcast phone, the chat, the blogs, the virtual view book, all of that gives you the ability to measure your return on who's going there and what they're doing. Here's an example. We sent out a message for, a transcript request. They sent in a transcript. We received in 1,200 or 13 hand sent their file transcripts, upwards of 1,000, opened the mail, and by golly, the next day, transcripts were arriving. So you can see how this information works. Now, what happened, remember the dip I told you about 92, 93, you can see it there, when we dipped under about 7,800 apps, and boom, that's where we're at. The 2008 will be added. We just closed our file as a quarter campus. I mentioned we had nearly 38,000 apps. Our filing period will end November 30th, so I should be there working, but it's all in place. You can see the strategies and the flows. We anticipate breaking the 40,000 barrier for next fall. The good thing is, though, we continue to see the increases in our progress indicators. So we're very concerned about seeing that those certain segments continue to increase and our ability to compete for the diversity of the state of California. So a lot of that's there. What you heard today was a condensed, probably I could do a day workshop on. But it's allowed what the technologies and the intrusive interrelationships that have been developed not only externally with prospective students and parents and counselors, but internally with our faculty and staff, allows us to manage our processes and helps us evolve the institution to where it is today. Progress indicators, I mentioned the Apple, I didn't mention the profile. Profile 92 is about a 3.4 on a 4-point unweighted. With a class of 1,600. Last year we brought in 43, not 3,500 students at a 3.8 in their ACT. We used an ACT average was 27. In 1992, that 1,600 had an ACT average of 21. Our retention rates of our first and second year retention rates have grown from slightly over 80% to 92%. Graduation rates have increased to 55 to 70%. We're not satisfied with that. We believe we should be pushing, even in the STEM disciplines, you lose a lot of engineers. We're looking at our progress, and our goal is an 80% graduation rate by 2012. So we got 2 cohorts to go. So that gives you a little bit of idea there. Our financial aid process and our mission processes are merged. They're strategic. They're tactical based on an overall plan. We've implemented a number of these technologies in partnerships. We were the first campus to launch electronic app in 92 with DISC. We evolved into helping support the application portfolio through CSU Mentor, digital view books, a number of other digital media with options, and then the evolution of the CRM in 99 when, believe it or not, Hobson's had a consultant there trying to sell DVDs, and we said we don't care about your DVDs, sell those to your friends back east. We need a tool set to communicate with today's youth. Hobson's bought the bullet there, and they partnered with us, and we were able to use that CRM. But we are continuing to combine other technologies. And as things move open source, where do you go? We have our ERP, it's the Oracle PeopleSoft ERP, so we merged this with that. We have our own U portal, but we also use the PeopleSoft or the Oracle self-service as part of that U portal. So a number of different technologies there that you see. Our dashboards are always apparent, so we can take any point of contact. Those 300 sources have probably shrunk to about 100. We can tell you from that point of contact who's applied, who gained admission, who decided to come, who enrolled, and more importantly, what they've done at Cal Poly. So we want to merge data to a data warehousing strategy that we've employed. We're able to look at who graduated. And in fact, today with our alumni engagement and analysis, we know a lot more about not only who applied, who worked, where they worked, how much they can get. Okay, that's important to us because of our capital campaign. Dashboards are available. It's allowed us to change the culture. I know it's lunchtime. These links will be available. They're easy to look at. Just drop me a card and I'll send you everything I talked about and more. And I will open it up to questions, and if there are none, then we can go to lunch. How's that? But thank you for your time. I really appreciate